Hey there, fellow code wizards. I'm Mo, your friendly neighborhood software developer. Today we are going on an exciting journey through the world of .NET, C Sharp, and the CLR. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and trust me, you want to stick around until the end. In this video, I'm excited to chat about the history of .NET, why C Sharp is a big deal, what the CLR is all about, and the various types available in C Sharp. I picked these topics because I'll be giving you a sneak peek in this video, and in my next few videos, I'll dive into these topics even deeper. I think these topics are super important for understanding the .NET, and I want to shed some light on aspects that are often overlooked by developers. Let's talk about .NET history, why history is so important, and a brief journey through the .NET history. The story of .NET started back in the late 19s when Microsoft set out to create new framework that would change the way applications were developed. Microsoft began working on the framework after creating Windows 95 with the vision of making Windows a platform for businesses and developers. This led to development of the .NET framework in the late 19s, providing developers with a platform to create their own applications. Initially, Microsoft released C Sharp and CLR separately, and later integrated them. The release of .NET Framework 1 was groundbreaking, as it allowed developers to use strongly typed languages like C Sharp and have a memory and thread management handled by the .NET, unlike in C and C++, where you had to handle all those logic by yourself, like concurrency, memory, and whatnot. As .NET continued to improve, developers began asking for the .NET framework to be used on platforms like Linux. That's when Mono came into play. Progress continued, and in the mid 2016, .NET Core was released. Before this, .NET Framework was mainly supported on Windows, with Mono being an unofficial option. However, with the release of .NET Core 1, Microsoft officially started supporting multi-platform and open source version of .NET. This progress led into the retirement of .NET Framework, with its latest version being 4.8, and the introduction of .NET 5, a platform that combines elements of .NET Framework and .NET Core. Today, .NET has evolved into a robust ecosystem supporting various languages and tools, all unified under one platform. The reason why Microsoft .NET 5 instead of .NET Core 4 was that from this point, Microsoft retired .NET Framework 4.8, as we said. So he combined these two names together and released .NET 5, not .NET Framework, because .NET 5 is not a framework just for Windows. It's a platform for many operating systems, and that's why it's called .NET 5. And just wanted to give you a heads up about the .NET standard. So after release of .NET Core, there was this new thing where you can't use .NET Framework code into .NET Core. To fix that, Microsoft came up with .NET Standard, which kind of act like bridge between .NET Framework and .NET Core. But when .NET 5 came out, Microsoft stopped working on .NET Standard since they merged the .NET Framework and .NET Core into one platform. Now let's talk a little bit more about why C Sharp and what is CLR. C Sharp is the flagship language of .NET, designed to be modern, object-oriented, and type-safe. It's powerful and productive language that allows developers to create anything from desktop applications to the web to the cloud services. It provides great support for different types and lets developers create their own types in safe way while managing all memory allocation tasks. However, you might wonder why C Sharp is not among the top three languages. You're right. That's why history is important, and we can find the answer in the history of .NET. Before .NET Core, C# was limited to Windows platform and wasn't open source, so you had to pay for its license and IDE. However, now it's open source and can be used across different platforms. I believe it wouldn't be long before it becomes one of the top three languages. .NET is powered by Common Language Runtime (CLR), which acts as the engine that runs your code, taking care of memory, threading, and more to make sure your applications run smoothly and safely, which .NET then runs in the operating systems. So, in an unmanaged application, it is your responsibility to directly talk with the operating system and ask for thread, memory management. All is your responsibility. But on the other hand, in the managed application, your code won't directly run on the operating system and it will be converted to IEL, intermediate language, which in my next videos I'm going to talk about this IEL in more detail. But for now, it's just enough to know your code will be converted to IEL and then it will be run on the operating systems. And you don't need to be worried about all these responsibilities. CLR will manage them all for you. It's much easier, isn't it? So we decided to go with C Sharp as our main language. We're going to talk about all these topics. First, top level statements. Let's dive into a concept, the idea of a statement expression. This here is a statement, and this part is an expression. The reason we call it an expression is that when code runs, the compiler breaks it into branches of a tree and then executes. It's something like this. We have three nodes and it's like something like this. So that's we are calling it an expression. You might wonder why we need to understand the concept of a statement. Well, before .NET Core, our code looked a bit like this. Let me uncomment this part. With a namespace behind the class name, static, main class, which was quite complicated, wasn't it? Especially for someone who had just started learning this language. So Microsoft decided to simplify this in the new .NET Core and call it top-level statement. So we don't have this part anymore, and it was just simplified to a statement. And now we don't have all those complexities. Instead, we just have this statement. That's why they call it top level statement. It's executed first before anything else at top. So it's top level statement. As we said earlier, C# is a strongly typed language. It has two types of data, predefined types and custom types or user-defined types. Predefined types are part of the C# language and the C# compilers already knows how to work with them. We have two categories in predefined types. Primitive data types like int and long, which are value types, and reference types like string or object. But as developers, we often need to create our own types, and that's where custom or user-defined types come in. By using the classes or interface, delegate, whatnot, we can create our own type, and that's why they're called custom or user-defined types. Everything you create in C# is a type and falls under the custom types category. So at top we have two categories, predefined data type and custom or user-defined type. Primitive data type are actually a subset of predefined type. And all these primitive data types are value types. And another category of predefined types, as I said, are a reference type, like string, object, which are actually reference type. And all actually custom types you can see here, like class, struct, all of them are custom or user-defined type, and all of them are reference type. Now let's chat about the differences between value types and reference types. Value types are stored in the stack, while reference types are stored in the heap. But what exactly are the stack and heap in memory? The stack takes up less memory compared to heap, typically between 1 to 2 megabytes, and it operates on a last in first out LIFO basis, make it easier to manage and incredibly fast. The heap, on the other hand, occupies more space and it's a little bit slower than stack because we have no particular order. It's random access memory. Because the stack has limited memory, it can't hold everything for sure. For example, a string's size could be quite large, so we can't store the entire string in the stack. Instead, the stack stores the string's address, which is just 4 bytes, and the actual string value is stored in the heap. So if I want to draw it, all the value type will be stored in the stack and the actual data will be stored in the stack. For instance, if you have an int, the actual value will be stored in the stack. But on the other hand, reference type are stored in the heap. The actual data, for instance, if you have a string, the actual data will be stored in the heap, but its address will be stored in the stack. And that's how it knows where the data has been stored. And in my next upcoming video, I'm going to talk about the garbage collector, GC, which is responsible for the managing all the reference type in the .NET. We have covered so much today, from the incredible historical milestones of .NET, C Sharp, and the CLR. Just remember .NET is more than just a framework. It's a thriving community, and C Sharp is more than just a language. It's a canvas of your imagination. I really hope you have enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. A huge thank you for watching, and until next time, keep coding and keep creating.